Welcome into another edition of Beat the Bookie. I'm your host for today, Noah Cierzan, and I'm here to make you a boatload of money. And while I'm a bit of a newbie here on BTB, I've got some picks for today's college football slate that will have your bookie running for the hills. But before we get into my picks for the day, let's see how Tyler did last week. That's not great. You know what? I don't think we need to dwell on that. We can check out the yearly standings where that puts Tyler overall. Not too bad, slotted right in at 11th place, still on the first full screen right there. We'll go to the second one. Jacob Kronberg not doing too hot, and Tyler again making a lot of appearances towards the bottom of the list. Hopefully I can do better than that one. And I got to say, I think we got a lot of great football games, and it all starts down in Columbus, Ohio, with our first game of the week. Is after a bit of a week 1 scare, the number 3 ranked Buckeyes return home where they take on number 12 Oregon in one of 2 top 25 matchups this weekend. It's a tough matchup for me because both teams have immense talent, but neither looked great a week ago. Vegas favors Ohio State in this one by over 2 touchdowns, and I think they can cover that at home. But we saw last week that it took C.J. Stroud a little ways to get going in that offense, and Kayvon Thibodeau is miles better than any Gopher defender Stroud saw a week ago. This one is going to be a battle in the trenches early, so give me the first half under of 32.5 in this one. I'll throw $10 on that one, and we'll keep it over in the Big Ten. The battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy, the 10th ranked Hawkeyes travel to Ames, Iowa to take on the 9th ranked Cyclones. And look, a lot of people are going to talk about the fact that Iowa State has 2 potential Heisman candidates in Brock Purdy and Breece Hall, or maybe the fact that Iowa hung 34 points on Indiana a week ago. But do not be fooled. This game is always a grinded out bloodbath, and 7 of the last 10 matchups between the two have resulted in the under. On top of that, the Hawkeyes scored 2 touchdowns on defense last week, and that vaunted Cyclone offense only scored 16 against NIU a week ago. I am hammering the under at 46, and I'm throwing $15 on that. And for our final game of the week, we've got a Big 12 SEC showdown when number 15 Texas travels to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. And I'm going to be honest, this was the easiest game for me to pick all week because the Longhorns are going to absolutely dismantle the Razorbacks. Did Vegas forget what UT's extremely balanced offensive attack did to the Raging Cajuns a week ago? Now they get an Arkansas team that finished 3-7 a year ago. I will not stand for this disrespect for Texas, just like Tyler did last week. I'm riding with the Longhorns, so I'll take them as a touchdown favorite for $15. Those were the game of the week. Now let's get it over to my picks, and this one is really tough because I'm sending it to my hometown of Minneapolis, where I am betting against my Golden Gophers. You know, as much as I hate to say it, losing preseason All-American Mohamed Ibrahim for the year is really going to hurt Minnesota, and I just don't see them covering an 18-point spread against a decent MAC opponent without their best player. I think Tanner Morgan has something going with Texas A&M transfer Dylan Wright, so I think the Gophers escape with the win, but it's going to be closer than they'd like. Give me $5 on Miami to cover the 18-point spread. All right, now that I got that out of the way, it's time to get excited because we get to talk about the man stealing America's heart, Liberty's Malik Willis. The former Auburn Tiger put the world on notice last season, and in week 1 he picked up right where he left off, throwing for a score along with rushing for one. And I think, you know, the Flames are knocking on the door of the top 25. They get a big performance this Saturday to vault them into it, and they will easily cover the 4-point spread against a Troy team I'm not scared of at all. So I'll throw $15 on that one. And finally, for my lock of the week, this is one where you can throw your rent on it. I'm taking it to the New York versus New Jersey showdown in the Dome. It's Syracuse and it's Rutgers, and it's another betting line I just don't understand. The Scarlet Knights are only favored by 2 against an SU squad that won a single game a year ago. Sure, they won their opener, but they did it almost entirely on the back of stud running back Sean Tucker. Rutgers has a defensive line anchored by senior Julius Turner, and I think they'll stack the box, stifle the orange, and easily cover the 2-point spread. I'm throwing $20 on Rutgers to cover. And while I'm all the way out on one upstate New York school, I am riding high on another for my dog of the week, as I absolutely love the Buffalo Bulls as 14-point underdogs against Nebraska. Buffalo put up a whopping 69 a week ago, and the Cornhuskers, frankly, haven't looked very good in the Scott Frost era. I think 2 touchdowns is way too big of a spread, so I'm throwing $10 on Buffalo to cover. Okay, now we get to the game you've never heard of the week in Hampton versus Old Dominion. The Monarchs come into this game as heavy favorites, but this team has a glaring weakness we saw a week ago. They allowed Wake Forest to rush for nearly 200 yards on the ground, and if we look over to the Pirates in week 1, they rushed for 378 yards. I think Hampton is going to be able to get something going on the ground and really eat up some time of possession, so I'll pick them to cover the 19 points as underdogs and throw $5 on that. Finally, we have a little parlay to finish things off, starting with Iowa plus 170 on the money line. I already talked about how much I love that Iowa defense, and they've taken 5 straight against the Cyclones coming into this one. Then we'll throw Houston minus 330, give us a little more security in the parlay. I think they bounce back in a big way against Rice to get their season back on track. And just because I'm feeling extra lucky today, I'm going to throw another money line dog in there with Northern Illinois at plus 230. This is the team that just knocked off an ACC foe in Georgia Tech a week ago, and they're at home as dogs. Give me the Huskies to round out a $5 parlay to win $53.05. So that wraps up my picks. We'll recap them real quick. Like I said, love the first half under in that Ohio State-Oregon game. Iowa State, Iowa, going to be a bloodbath. Hammer the under. Texas, don't get that line. Hook 'em Longhorns. I think they do really well in that one. I had to pick against my Gophers. Not going to talk about it anymore. Love Malik Willis. And then for the rest of our picks this week, Rutgers, love them in the Dome against Syracuse. The Buffalo Bulls take, I think they have a chance to take down Nebraska. And then Hampton, Old Dominion, that parlay. I really, really like all of those bets. So hopefully you took some of my advice for a big payday. But unfortunately, that's all the time I've got here on Beat the Bookie today. So as always, I'm Noah Cierzan saying happy betting and enjoy another Saturday and another fun college football slate.